Hello everyone, welcome to Vishesh Educational Videos. In this video, I am explaining about the requirement specification. Actually, I already explained about the requirement specification. If you want to know more about that, the link is in the description section. In this video, I am concentrating more on how to write the requirement specification using some notations or using some natural languages. So this is actually a second part of a requirement specification. Getting, guys? So if you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like and share the video with your friends. So let me begin the explanation, some additional explanation related to a requirement specification. So as you all know, requirement specification is a process of writing down the user and system requirements in a requirement document. In a simple words, I am going to include all the user requirements, all the system requirements in a file or a document. So requirements are nothing but those are the features that has to be included in your software, right? So requirement specification is the process of writing down the user and system requirements in a requirement document. Getting, guys? And one more important thing, system requirements. If I say system requirements, the system requirements may be the expanded versions of user requirements, right? And that requirements can be used as starting point for the system design. You know that the output of the requirements process, requirement collection process, is used as the input for the design step. You already know that, right? Next, they add detail and explain how the user requirement should be provided by the system. Obviously, design process, what they do means they will add some extra details to that requirement and they will convert that requirements into diagrammatic format. Obviously, we can easily understand the requirements if it is in the diagrammatic formats. So you can see there in the first step the requirements will be in the form of English like statement, then I will add the details and I will convert that into diagrams. Later the diagrams will be converted into programs. You can see that in each steps the extra details will be added. Getting, guys? And one more important thing, it is practically impossible to exclude all design information. Obviously, design plays a very important role here. You have to convert all the requirements, whether it may be user requirement or a system requirement, all the requirements into proper design information. You can't exclude any requirement. All the requirements needs to be converted into diagrammatic format because your requirement will be in like English like statements, right? So you have to convert that all the requirement into design. And one more important thing, just remember this, guys. If I say requirement, that is not a rule that your requirement may be in the natural language format, that is English like statements. No, your requirement can be in a diagrammatic formats also, right? You will come to know that in the later part of this video, right? See, the system requirements are organized according to the different subsystems that make up the system. I already told you while explaining the requirement engineering process. If you collect the requirements, you have to group that requirements properly. You have to classify that requirements. Suppose if I am developing a banking application, authentication feature requirements will be grouped into one set. Create account features will be create account feature requirements will be grouped into another set. Delete account features requirements will be grouped into another set. See, 3 groups I made. You have to organize your requirements according to that right features. And in most cases, software must interoperate with existing system. Existing system means you may get the existing system. Suppose if you are developing a banking software, new banking software, instead of developing the banking software from a scratch, you can use the existing banking software, it's already developed, and you can add your new features to the existing software. Why we have to do this means we can save the time, we can save the cost. It will be easy. Instead of writing the software from the scratch, it will be easy for us to take the existing system and to add the features to that. In most cases we do that. Getting, guys? Right? So in most cases system must interoperate with the existing system. and also which constantly design and impose requirements on the new system. Obviously, some disadvantages are there and also some advantages also are there if you do like this. Advantages, you can save a time, you can save a cost. But if you add the new requirement to this existing system, the existing system may not work. That is the problem. Chances are there. When you try to add the new requirement to this existing system, to this existing banking software, the banking software may stop working. If it is working, it's fine. But there are chances are there, risk is there. Getting, guys? And the use of a specific architecture to satisfy non-functional requirements may be necessary. In simple words, along with the functional requirements. So if you want to know more about all these requirement engineering process, functional requirements, the video is in the link for that video is in the description section, right? So what is going to tell means you have to consider non-functional requirements also. In simple words, non-functional requirements means I already explained efficiency, reliability, feasibility, ease of use. You have to consider all these things, because if I say software is working, that is not enough. If I want to say software is working efficiently, I want to say software is working reliably, that's why you have to include the non-functional requirements also. Getting? So I already told you in this video I'm mainly concentrating on how to write the requirements. What are the languages I can use to write the requirement? In this video, we are concentrating more on this only, right? This table shows the ways to write the system document, or it is system requirement specification, right? So what are the ways? First way is natural language sentences. This is the default way. This is the default way. By using the English like statements, I am going to write the requirements. So far you should you know this thing, right? So far you know I can write the requirement using a natural language sentences. The requirements are written in using a sentences, using a natural language. Natural language may be English. Getting, guys? This is the first way. Second way, you can use a structured natural language. Here structured natural language means the requirements are written in natural language. That means they are written in natural language, that they are written in English only. But you have to follow some format. You have to follow some standard format, template. So our requirement document can be an example for this. I explained it, right? The requirement document. There I used a template, right? So I can use a template, proper template. For example, see. This can be the example of a template. So I can use a template like this. Simple. Instead of writing simply the text, I can use a template and I can express my requirements. Right? Getting, guys? Next, design description languages. Here, requirements are expressed directly using a programming language statements. But this is mainly for experienced users like developers, test engineers. For non-technical users like customers, this type of writing style is not suitable, because in this approach we are using a programming language. Directly I am writing the requirements in the programming language, because developers can easily understand the requirements if it's written in the programming language. That's why. Right? And this approach is very rarely used. Remember, we try to write the programming requirements, try to write the requirements in the natural language or structured natural language. This method is not at all used actually. Rarely they will use this. Only if a customer is a designer, then they can go for this. But it's a very rare case, right? And also that graphical notations we can use. Graphical models. That means directly I can write the programs and requirements in the directly I can write the requirements in the diagrammatic format. Diagrammatic format means directly I can write using a system architecture, use case diagram, sequence diagram, data flow diagram, flow chart. like that. Right? Again, these graphical notations is not suited for non-technical customers. It is only suited for technical the customers who are having the technical knowledge. Can you say graphical notations? Lastly, mathematical specification. I can specify my requirements. I can express my requirements using the mathematical specification. Again, this is suitable for only the technical person. Non-technical persons are not at all going to understand this. I can use some notations, mathematical specification, mathematical concepts like finite state automata, right? Grammar. I can use these type of notations to express my requirements. But the problem here is the most customers don't understand a formal specification. They cannot check that it represents what they want. That is the problem here. Right? For a non-technical customer, the first two methods are suitable. That is natural language sentences and structured natural language. Second one is best suited actually. Right? Getting, guys? Now I will discuss these techniques in a more detailed way. So natural language specification, as you know, to minimize the misunderstanding when writing the natural language requirements, there are some simple guidelines to be followed. Natural language specification means you can write the requirements using some language like English, right? While writing this type of requirements, you have to follow some rules. When you follow some guidelines or rules, some misunderstandings will be reduced, obviously. What is that? So first of all, invent a standard format and ensure that all the requirement definitions adhere to that format. I told you, simply if you are expressing your requirements in a text, it is not possible. Just follow some format. According to that format, start writing the requirements. Obviously, it will be helpful for you. Next, use language consistently distinguish between mandatory and desirable requirements. While writing the requirements, you have to find a way to develop mandatory and desirable requirements. Mandatory means you have to tell these requirements has to be compulsory. Desirable means these requirements are not compulsory, but if you include it, it is fine, right? How to do that? You can use some notations like mandatory requirements can be made in bold letters. Desirable requirements may be made in small letters and lowercase letters, like that. And use text highlighting. I told you, right, already, bold, italic or color to pick out key parts of the requirements. To tell the developer about some important points of the requirement, you can use that bold, italic and colors. Getting, guys? And one more important thing, very important thing, do not assume the reader's technical knowledge. You can't assume that my user, my customer is a technical person. No, I can't do that. My customer can be a non-technical person also. You have to, right, remember that. So you should avoid the use of abbreviations, and right, abbreviations you should avoid, because if a technical user is there, he can understand that abbreviations. But what about the non-technical user? That's why you should not assume that, right? So if you follow these guidelines, obviously, right, you can avoid some misunderstanding while writing the natural language specification. For example, see, this is the example for the insulin pump requirement. Here the requirement is expressed in natural language, just simple English text statement. Here I am not following any format, just remember it. Here I am not following any format. See, 3.2, 3.6, just two requirements. It is going to tell about two requirements. I am not going to follow any format here. Just remember that. So this is the example. Next, structured specification. Structured specification means here also I am going to use a natural language. But what is the difference means I am going to write the system requirements or user requirements in some format, in some standard way. I'm going to follow some standard way. For example, here I use templates. Here also I use English language, but I use templates. Getting? For example, a form-based specification that defines how to calculate the dose of insulin. Again, to explain the structured specification, I'm taking the example of insulin pump case study. If you want to know more about that insulin pump case study, the link is in the description, right? So here I'm writing the requirement in a structured way. What is that requirement means? I have to calculate the dose of the insulin to be delivered when the blood sugar is within the safe band. When a blood sugar is in a balanced threshold, you have to calculate the dose of the insulin. How to do that? See, what is the requirement? So see, this is the requirement, but you can see here the requirement is structured. It is following from format. So compute insulin dose function. Here this requirement is specifying about computing the insulin dose, and what is the condition? Sugar level is safe. See, description. First, I explain the function. This is the requirement. Description, and description means it is going to explain about the function. Inputs, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, what is the destination, what is the action. See, here also I am telling about the requirement only. See the difference here? Here simply I used this text, but here I am following some formats. That's all. Getting, guys? And one more important thing, when a standard form is used for specifying functional requirements, the following information should be included. When you are following a format or a template, if you include all these things, it will be easy for you. First, what you have to include in a format or a template, a description of the function or entity being specified. You can see I included the description here in that function. Description means you are going to tell about that function using some 5 to 6 words, right? That's all. Also, along with that, a description of inputs and outputs. See, I included input also. What is the input you are giving to this particular component? Next, a description of output. Along with the input, you have to include the output also. You can see there, right? Next, you have to follow this. It is not a rule that you have to include this, but if you include this, it will be helpful for you while following the template or a format. Getting, guys? And also, along with the input output, along with the description, you have to include information about the computation. For example, requires preconditions or post conditions. See, precondition. So precondition means, for example, while explaining the Gmail account example I told you, right? To check the authentication feature, you should create the account first. If you don't have the account, how you can check with a username and a password? That is precondition, like that. So that preconditions, post conditions, and if any side effects are there, you have to include that also. Getting, guys? And what is the action to be taken? So, right, if everything is fine, what you should do, those details also should be there in the requirement document. Getting, guys? So in this video, mainly we concentrated on how to express our requirements using a natural language or a structured document. Getting, guys? So along with this natural languages, as I already told you, you can use some notations, diagrams also to express your requirements, right? So hope you understood the concepts. If you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.